to Center for Spiritual Living right here in beautiful Fullerton, California. Oh, there's more people coming in. Yay! Thank you all for joining us today in person and also online. My name is Tomoko Rosas, and I'm a practitioner here at the center. Please join me in stating our purpose statement. We are a loving spiritual community, empowering all to live healthy and successful lives through practicing the principles of science and mind. I have a few announcements before we get started. Today, Reverend Bill is back. Yay! Welcome back. And you know what that means, right? That means Pip is back. Yay! And they are ready to inspire us through the rest of the year this year. So, great. In our fall program of 40 Days of Thankful Living, a spiritual journey in cultivating a grateful heart started last Sunday. And it goes on for 40 days until Thanksgiving. And don't worry, if you didn't start with us last week, just start where you are. Pick up your booklet, it's still available until supplies last. And if you like, take some home with you too, for your friends and family. And today is our new member Sunday and minister's reception. And that's going to be immediately after service today. And if you are so moved to join our center as a member, please see Sally or just come up when we have our open call. Okay, and Sally will talk about it more later on. Next Sunday is our Holy Spirit Bingo. Yay, back by popular demand. It was so much fun the last time we did it, and you know, quite surprisingly, we had a lot of men there. And they were bantering back and forth. It was just so much fun. So please, guys, join us too. Again, it is a Halloween fall harvest theme. So costumes are optional. Not, required, but it's optional. Please sign up today so we have a head count. Also, next Sunday, dollar ticket raffle drawing will be during service. And for that one, you don't have to be present to win. If you can't make the bingo, you could still participate in the raffle. And the raffle, the grand prize is 50-50 of the money we collected. That means the more we sell, the bigger the pot. Okay? So, Spiritual Growth Support Group is ongoing on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. And that's open to everyone. And Science of Mind, Foundation of Science of Mind, it's still open. And we're calling for the students. And when we have a nice gathering of students, we will open it up. And mark your calendar. Our next Lunch and Paint with Karen Thomas is on Sunday, November 12th. I hate to be talking about November already, but it's coming right up. So please join us for that.
Picture for a gift.
Yes, that's right. Christmas gift. Subject of session is Red Poppies and Daisies by Vincent van Gogh. And that's going to be a lot of fun. So please sign up, and that is at the welcome table. Yeah, and that's it for me, and I'm going to pass it on to Debbie and Richard.
I need to be still and let God love me. I need to be still and let God love me. When this old world seems to push and shove me, I need to be still and let God love me.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Please join me in our invocation. We know that God is in us, through us, surrounding us, filling us, and right here, right now, in this special room, as we celebrate love and healing, the serenity of spirit, Spirit that is God expressing through each one of us. As we gather here together today to welcome new members, I just say thank you for the ushers, the greeters, everyone who makes everyone feel right at home here. I know there are blessings for our junior church teachers and our little children. There are blessings for the practitioners as we do our prayer work. And gratitude for all the blessings that we see demonstrated day by day. Our Board of Trustees members oversee the business of this church center and work with our Director of Operations, Tomoko, to manage our fiscal affairs. We enjoy fantastic music here every week, and we have Debbie and Richard. Thank you guys so much for your beautiful contribution. And then, of course, we have Reverend Bill. The Imposter roster, huh? Okay, we'll hear what that means. And I am so grateful for each one of you here, physically and virtually, just joining us together in worship and in praise and in celebration. And now I just release all these words into the law and let it be. And so it is. I wasn't supposed to be on the platform today, so it was a last-minute choice, but there's this little booklet sent to me from Guideposts, and it's kind of Halloween-y, so I thought I'd read it to you. It's called Behind the Mask. It's written by a woman named Marilyn Morgan Hellenberg. Last year, she said, the scariest creature I've ever seen showed up at my door on Halloween. His rubber mask covering his face and head had twisted features, a pulled down mouth, and a bright red wound on his cheek. Quickly, I dropped a couple of home-baked cookies in his bag, and he hurried away. A couple days later, the paper boy came to collect and said, "Boy, those were sure good cookies you put in my bag." You guessed it, he was the child behind the mask. I could hardly believe it. Darren is a real sweetheart, a good-natured, polite, and working to become an Eagle Scout. So it made me wonder, could there be a lovable child of God behind some of the ugly masks we wear? Well, that woman with the stringy, unwashed hair who sat near me last week, might there be a sweet-natured child with low esteem behind her unkempt disguise? Or how about that opinionated man who seems so cocky? Is it possible there's a little boy behind his blustery camouflage, hoping his fear won't show? Or that pushy woman crowding in front of me at the post office? I wonder if the little girl in her has felt ignored too long. There's a child in me, too, and she sometimes hurts. Thank God for those special people who care enough to look beyond the false faces we wear. And now just join me in prayer. Letting our masks go, being authentic and really here today. I am so grateful for this opportunity and for the beautiful faces I see out here and all around me. Thank you, God. I just let these words go and know it's done perfectly. And so it is. Amen.
When you wish and you hope for a miracle, when you really don't So reach out and believe in a miracle, 'cause miracles are what we are. When you try and there's no more to give, and you can't find your way anymore, what you need is some faith to keep you going strong. When your life has no more existence, and your goals and your aims are all gone, then turn those endings into beginnings. Miracles, miracles, miracles are what we are. What you need is some faith to keep you going strong. If your life has no more existence, and your goals and your aims are all gone, then turn those endings into beginnings. Miracles, miracles, miracles are what we are. Yeah, 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 yeah. Miracles.
Wow, that's Debbie Ebert and Richard O'Hara. So, good morning. I am Reverend Bill Salisbury, happy to be here. Life is great, yeah? Life is good. Everything is just peachy. You know, life really sucks, doesn't it? Sometimes just nothing goes right. I mean, the ball could take a bad bounce, it's gonna happen right here in front of me. We ever do that to ourselves? Sometimes. And you know, a la Henry Ford, remember, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right either way. Same with this. If we think life is great, or if we think it's not so good, we're right either way. How great is that? We get to determine how life is. We get to determine how good it is. This is great. Oh yeah, we're still working under living from power, and today we're talking about the imposter roster, but I wanted to get my affirmation out here because it was kind of apropos. Everybody got an affirmation probably, right? If not, you got one coming. Mine says, for every problem that I may create, there is a solution. Now, I just want you to know what struck me this morning about that was not the problem-solution thing. It was the that I may create part. Because really, don't we just all create so many of our own problems? And we know we build them out of nothing. And that's where they go back to once we stop giving them energy. So, how do we do that? Nobody likes to be lied to. I mean, raise your hand if you just love to be lied to. I mean, I don't think anybody likes to be lied to. And yet, don't we sometimes, just every once in a while, just a little lie to ourselves? Because, come on, that's one of our basic coping mechanisms, isn't it? It makes us, it helps us to navigate this world, and it makes it not feel quite so bad when something doesn't go exactly like, well, it looked on the drawing board. But the problem with that is we're just giving them, eventually over time, we're giving them too much power. And those are the things, it's those little tiny, well, peccadillos, if you will. I, for one, don't want to tell myself I lie to myself. But every once in a while, there might be a little bit of hiccup in my truth line. Could I say that? But those things over time can mount, they can build, they can construct. Remember, this is the science of mind. We know beyond any shadow of a doubt that thoughts become things. The things we think populate our world. So we think when we tell ourselves something that's maybe a little bit biased or tilted, that we're doing that to help create something better in our world. But then, does it always? You know, we're into this 40-day program, and I don't know if you looked at today, but it says Forgiveness Day, right? I'm thankful for the power to forgive. That's today, Sunday. And in the bottom paragraph there, it tells us, Forgiveness Day also applies to me. I am forgiven for everything that I have ever done that has harmed another. Well, all right already. We're also forgiven for everything that we've done that's harmed ourselves. And I think we got a pretty good idea that sometimes that's a lot. When we stop and analyze, whenever there's a crisis in our life, that's when we start to really analyze things, right? And when we do, we discover that largely most of those things are self-made. I like to get around that. I like to avoid that. I should be able to. But I'm not very good at that sort of thing. Just like I'm not very good at math. I'm not very good at running. I'm not very good at soccer. I'm not very good at cooking. Look at all the things I'm not very good at. How do I know that? How do I know that I'm not very good at those things? I know because I've told myself that. And really, when I stop to think about it, in those hours of honesty that I sometimes spend alone with me, I realize that I've said those things because I'm trying to escape responsibility for doing them. Well, I'm just not very good at that. Well, that is a thought that is an imposter. That's the very first one on our imposter roster. The thought that I'm not very good at. It's a fake, it's a phony, it's a charlatan, but it's playing in my head. And it's kind of a little tyrant. You know, Soren Kierkegaard, the 1800s, 19th century Danish philosopher, said something to the effect of, when a tyrant dies, his reign ends. When a martyr dies, his reign begins. So let's let the tyrant, that little tiny voice that tells us that I'm not good at, Let's let him die and let that reign of terror end. And about the little white lie that we might mention to ourselves that was okay to say, let's let that martyr itself, and we'll live forward from there, knowing that the truth of who we are speaks louder than anything we can say. The truth of who we are eventually is going to come forth into our world. So why don't we just own it to begin with? Well, I get to thinking about all the other things that I was never very good at. I mean, I don't have to say that about anything. What I should be saying is, I'm not really that great right this moment at doing that. But when I apply myself and I go to the problem, to the trouble of learning how I'm going to be great at it, and it doesn't matter what it is. There's nothing that we are by nature going to be not good at. I mean, think about those things that we weren't good at to begin with. I don't know, things like walking, talking, eating, thinking. We weren't very good at any of those. But we learned how to do them because those were the things that got us through this world. Those were the things that got us through each day and helped us to progress and helped us to grow. In fact, well, I should save this till the end, but the fact is maybe the way to personal growth is just to stop telling ourselves, just tell ourselves a few less of those little lies that get us through those coping mechanisms that get us through the day. Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind, probably had something to say about this, don't you think? Because it turns out he had something to say about everything. But before I do that, what's another one of those imposters? Kind of like, oh, if only I had, fill in the blank, I would be able to, fill in the blank. If only I had gone to the right college, I would have been able to be a superstar in my field. If only I had married the right person, I would have been a tremendous success. I'd have had the world at my doorstep. If only I had the right car, I wouldn't be embarrassed to show up, and I would be more self-confident when I go into my meeting. Consequently, I would be more successful. If I had this, then I'd be that. If I had this, then I'd be that. Bzzzt. No, it doesn't work like that. We'd love to think that. Or how about this one? If so-and-so would only change this, I would be so much better at this. Ooh, God. You know, there could be no end to this.
Yeah.
But really, somewhere along the line, we got to change. We got to knock off the first half of that sentence, put a comma after the second half, and then own it, right? So not, if this person would only, I would be able to. How about something like, this person only, I would be able to be successful if I took responsibility for my life and took responsibility for my thoughts. And if I directed my thoughts in the manner that would make this world a better place for me and for everybody else in it. These are things that we just kind of have to wrestle with. Ernest Holmes, when he's talking about, sometimes we forget this, but there's a whole section here in the Science of Mind where Ernest Holmes is kind of sort of giving us a little bit of his idea of some translations of some parts of the Bible. And this one he's talking about Ephesians, and I think it's 6. But the quote was, "Be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might." Well, we don't talk like that here in Science of Mind, but what it means is To be strong in the Lord is to be sure of ourselves, because we are sure of the principle of life which manifests itself within us. But that's not what I want to talk about that he said. That's just setting the stage for it. Because what he said was, we wrestle not against outward things, but against inward ideas and beliefs. The power of darkness is the power of false belief and superstition. If a person can change his inner concept, his whole life will be changed. All cause is from within, and all error forever without. But sometimes we attribute the wrong cause to the effect. We have the effect, and in our minds we say, well, the cause must be something, somebody, some circumstance, something other than me. How can I possibly cause this sort of grief in my life? And then we say, okay, listen, I know I'm a little bit low in this area. Okay, I know I should beef up my whatever. You choose an area. And I would change if only this was to happen. I would change if only I won the lottery. I would change if only my Aunt Henrietta would forgive me for, I don't know, for ruining Thanksgiving dinner. But come on, how much can I put up with from Uncle John? There's got to be a limit. I would change if only this. It doesn't work like that. It's something needs to change, i.e. something in me needs to change. I need to change that. I need to do it myself. I need to do it right now. I need to do it so that my world looks and becomes better. Because otherwise, it probably isn't going to happen by itself. Debbie's singing about miracles. The miracle of life unfolding in this fantastic manner is only a miracle because we call it that. It's the way it's supposed to be. It's the way it was intended to be. It was the way we were invented to live this life. So let's call it a miracle, but let's understand that what's the source of the miracles in our life? We are the source of those miracles. They're not coming from somewhere else. Well, they seem to, but they don't. They all start right here. They start with my thoughts about myself and my world. And I love this one. I just never had a chance. My past just haunts me. And we hear this all the time. Some of us have used this sometimes, you know. Oh God, my parents were so horrible. And oh, my old man, he used to beat us like we were dogs, you know. Oh, my mother never gave me love. And I would never argue with somebody who said something like that to me, because chances are it's true. I mean, that's their perception. Perception is what happened, right? Whether it did or not, doesn't matter. But that has to be the truth. However, we can only get behind those apron strings for so long, and pretty soon we gotta let them go. Because if my parents were unloving to me and mistreated me, and I'm 53 years old telling you about it, there's an issue here. And it's no longer about them. I should have cleared that up within myself and my world a very long time ago. So yeah, will the past come back to haunt us? Of course it will, if we allow it to. On the other hand, will it come back to haunt us if we just allow it to die that natural death? And if it won't die a natural death, we'll treat it like what? Like a vampire. We'll just stab a stake through its heart. But get it out of here. We don't need to live under those dark clouds of what used to be, or what should have been, or what could have been. We need to live under that bright light of what it's going to be like. The problem with our personal history is when we spend so much time in our personal history, all we're doing is borrowing time and energy from our destiny. So we can't get wrapped up in one and think the other one's gonna come out okay. You want to be as miserable tomorrow as you were yesterday? No problem. That's easy. Just keep thinking the same thoughts. But you want to be as happy tomorrow as you were yesterday and are today? No problem. Just keep thinking those same thoughts. We're either happy or not. Oh, don't throw things at me right now. I'm going to say this. We're either happy or not because that's what we're choosing in our life right now. If I'm choosing happiness, you know how you know? That big giant grin on my face, like the cat that got the canary. Sorry, canary lovers. But it's just an expression. I mean, I didn't make it up. But we have to make sure that when we are searching back to find the cause of the effect that we want to put out of our lives, that we go back to the correct cause. Because as long as I'm going to blame you, or somebody in my past, or somebody that I work with, or somebody that I ran into at the post office, or somebody on the other side of the world, anytime I want to assess the blame to them, and tell myself I wasn't even the tiniest bit complicit in this. Well, wait a minute, Bill. You said about the guy on the other side of the world. How can I be complicit in something that person did to harm me? Well, that person didn't do anything to harm you. That person just flipped that switch, pushed that button. Made you go back to that scenario where you could be harmed because of it, and you put yourself there. There's another imposter, and this is a beauty. It's better to give than to receive. God, I used to love that one. It's better to give than to receive. Because giving is so easy. Receiving is so difficult. I mean, come on. Who am I to be the recipient of some good from somebody or someplace? What have I done to deserve this? Huh. The Chris Christopherson song just flashed across my brain. Why me, Lord? What did I ever do to deserve loving you? Well, here's why each of us is 100% fully, completely, totally the recipient of all the good there is in the world. It's because we are divine expressions. We are the divine. We are that life principle. We are that God that we talk about. We are that living right here, right now, manifesting our dreams. And if we don't like the way our dream is manifesting, we don't have to look far to find out why. Let's just take that cause and effect train all the way back to the beginning. No, not all the way back to the beginning. Because in the beginning was just this almighty power, this presence, this divine consciousness that put me here. I don't have to go that far back. I only have to backtrack on that trail of cause and effect to find out what it was that I inserted in there that stopped that train of cause and effect from manifesting the way that I had hoped it would. That in my wildest dreams, I promised myself it would. And then I let some of those little imposters, some of those little tiny, not gonna hurt anybody, little white lies come in there. Just to help me cope with the world as it was unfolding. And when I did that, I opened the door for them to build upon themselves, to threshold up to that point where then they became an issue for me. Because when I'm honest with myself, here's what I know. I know that I am a child of God. I am an extension of that divine privilege. I am a piece of eternity. I'm a piece of infinity. I'm a piece of life right here, powered by the only power that there is, and put here for an express purpose. And that express purpose is just to live my life and to live it in the best possible way that I can. We've all heard the expression, the rat race, right? And then sometimes we tweak that a little bit and say, well, yeah, really, you know, we're kind of on that hamster wheel. Okay, let's just say that we are. But the purpose of being on that hamster wheel is not just to be going nowhere all the time. It's becoming a better runner. If we're going to be on a hamster wheel, let's just become better at doing it. Because everything that we determine ourselves to become better at shows up in our world as one more thing, that's one more feather in our cap, if you will, that we don't have to thank anybody for except ourselves, because we have taken the responsibility for doing that. I think the last one I want to talk about, and God, there are hundreds of them, but how about this one? That's just who I am. It's just who I am. I know, so I'm not the most compassionate guy in the world. Sorry, it's just who I am. Well, how about this? I know I'm just not the most honest person in the world. It's just who I am. Oh, yeah, I know that I'm a mass shooter. It's just who I am. Come on, where does that end? You know? No, it's not just who I am. Because just who I am is that divine entity that's put right here, that manifested, manifolded out of that divine intelligence, out of that consciousness that grounds all being. There could be nothing about me that's not magnificent in that manner. So when I say, that's just who I am, it's just not true. There's no such thing as just who I am. We need to change that, because really, what's that? That's a noun, right? That's a label we're putting on ourselves. Incompassionate, unloving, unforgiving. We need to put verbs instead of that, not labels. Right now I understand I'm not being very compassionate, but I'm going to work on that. Right now I know it seems like I'm not being that loving, but that's not who I am. I'm working on that too. So when we are verbing, we have the ability to change that. If we are labeling, the more we label and the more we validate it, the stronger that becomes, doesn't it? We want to not do that. So we want to keep these imposters off our roster. We want to send them back to the nothingness from whence they came. And we need to just continue on our way as those miraculous beings, those children of God that we are. So let's just take this into prayer. Let's just know that each of us is the architect of his or her own world, his or her own life. And that when we are taking that power of God in through us and working it and radiating it forth as the expression we choose to show to the world, we do that of our own mind. We choose what we want to put forth. We can stop listening to that little voice that brings in the negativity or the excuses or the not true labels of who we are, and know that at our center, at our very core, and at the center of every cell of our being, we are divine inspirations with all the power, all the potential of eternity, of infinity at our beck and call. When we realize this and when we act from that, when we know our place in this spiritual existence that we are enjoying, life just unfolds better. It unfolds better for us, it unfolds better for everybody in our sphere, and ultimately it unfolds better for everybody the world over. It's knowing this that just makes me so grateful. I'm grateful that this is the case. I'm grateful that I can acknowledge this is the case, and I'm grateful that I can live forth from this moment on in that very regard. And it's with this knowing and with that heartful gratitude that I just release this word into that law of the universe, knowing it is already so. And so it is. This is our time to shine our light, to share our abundance. We know that all of our good comes from that one source, God, and for this we are grateful. Thank you for your continued financial support as well as emotional and loving, heartfelt support, because it's that financial support that keeps us going. And for those who are not in attendance but watch this on video and continue to hit that donate button on the website and send in their tithes, thank you. So let's just know that we bless these gifts, these tithes, these offerings, knowing they are given from the central core of who we are, which is God made manifest on this plane. We send them forth to do their good work in this community and in the world at large, with no strings and no conditions, and so it is.
If you wake up and don't wanna smile, if it takes just a little while, open your eyes and look at the day. You'll see things in a different way. Why not think about the times to come and not about the things that you've done? If your life has been bad to you, just think of what tomorrow will do. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. It'll be better than before. Yesterday's gone, yesterday's gone. All I want is to see you smile, if it takes just a little while. I know you don't believe that it's true. I just want to bring a little joy to you. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. It'll be better than before. Yesterday's gone, yesterday's gone. Ooh, don't you look back. Ooh, don't you look back. smile if it takes just a little while. I know you don't believe that it's true. I just wanna bring a little joy to you. Don't stop thinking about singing now. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. It'll be better than before. Yesterday's gone, yesterday's gone. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. It'll be better than before. Yesterday's gone, yesterday's gone. Ooh, don't you look back. Hey, hey, yeah. Ooh, don't you look back. Hey, hey, well, ooh, don't you look back. One more, come on everybody. Ooh, don't you look back.
Wow, Debbie Ebert and the Debbie Ebert Singers.
Yeah.
And Mr. O'Hara. Yeah. It isn't going to get any better than that today. So let's just know this together. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It's this thing called life.
It's this thing called life.
It's this thing called love.
It's this thing called love.
It's this thing called spirit.
It's this thing called spirit.
That ain't no lie.
That ain't no lie.
Not even a little lie.
Not even a little lie.
It's who I am.
It's who I am.
God at work on this plane.
God at work on this plane.
So thank you, God in me.
Thank God in me.